Nikki Ebony, thank you for joining us again. Okay, we are now live on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. So we're ready. He's here. He's so efficient. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is here already. No time to waste at all. Wow. Good evening, my brother. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Good evening to you, my dear brother. Should I call you Kabiesi or Oba or which one are you, or Chief? Which one is your title?
Well, I have many titles. I have an Igbo title. Onunekora, one of Etitimboko.
Wow. That's good. So you're a chief in my
I'm a chief.
Thank you.
But I'm simply Dele tonight because this is a professional job. So I'm simply Dele tonight.
You're a very humble man. You're a very humble man. Thank you very much.
Your title. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, we have our usual protocol here. And the protocol is that we allow you to introduce yourself to our viewers so that there will be no mistake about it. It's coming straight from the horse's mouth. Please feel free. Don't be in a hurry. Take all the time in the world. Instagram is very generous.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so please go ahead. I wanted to go
and proceed. Good. My name is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I lead the indigenous people of Biafra, and also I am the director of Radio Biafra and Biafra Television. And my job and my duty is to serve the people of Biafra up until the restoration of the stolen sovereignty of Biafra land is restored, and also to an extent to also serve Nigerian youths as well. I think since the whole protest started, we have been serving them very diligently every morning and every evening. And it is something that we should be able to continue into the foreseeable future or until all the demands made by the young people are met by ASROC.
Could you tell us about your background, your parentage, schools attended, and all that, please?
Schools attended, my background is quite simple. My late parents, His Royal Majesty Ezekiel Kanu, and my mom as well, Lolo Mbeme, Ukeze, Lolo Mbeme Kanu. And I went to Labra Avenue Primary School, which was a model primary school in Umuahia, arguably one of the finest. And then I attended the best secondary school in the world, I believe, Fisher High School, then named Government College Umuahia, the same alma mater as Chinua Achebe, Kensira Wiwa, and Cyprian Quincy, and a whole host of other people who have gone on to at least make an indelible mark in our consciousness, if not in our society. And then from there, I went to University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where I spent about 2 years, and they weren't doing anything that I felt enhanced my ability to understand what I was there for. I had to travel to England, where I studied politics and economics at now London Metropolitan University. I've worked in various capacities. I'm actually the owner of Alpha Phoenix Consulting Limited in the UK, which is a consultancy firm, an economic development consultancy firm. I did actually work with a lot of people like Genesis and all the rest of them, where I held managerial positions until my calling. And that calling is to help restore the kingdom of God on the face of this very earth. And that's what we've been doing for very many years now.
Fantastic. So growing up, who were your heroes, your mentors?
I think my father was number one. Only two people in my life have seriously impressed me. One was my dad that I was very close to, that I learned a lot of things from. We never actually spoke that very often, but I used to sit around and watch him conduct his counsel, the way he adjudicated in cases and the things that he did, and most of the morals that he left me with. I remember on one occasion, I asked my father, why is it that even after Sunday service, when we get back home, normally if I go to my friend's house and you ask after their father, they'll tell you that their dad is sleeping or doing something of that sort. But in my house, any time there's a knock on the door, my father will encourage us to open the door. And I kept wondering why. And he said, if you have nothing to hide, then you should be able to answer every knock on the door. That is why you need to keep your hands very clean. And throughout my life, apart from the time that these criminals, these savages came to my house, the police had never been to my house or the army with a hostile intent. Operation Python Dance on the 14th of September of 2017 was the very first time in my entire life that the army or the police entered my house with intention either to enforce the law or to kill or to arrest or to pillage or to destroy, the very first time. So my father was number one. The second person is Thomas Sankara, the late Thomas Sankara, because of how he managed to turn Burkina Faso around from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, and the miracle he was able to perform. For the very first time in living memory, it was demonstrated that should Black people put their minds to something, they can make something out of nothing. From being a basket case, they became the largest exporter of food across West Africa under the, should I say, the leadership of this brilliant, and very brave young man, Thomas Sankara. So just those two people.
Okay, fantastic. I think before we continue, it would be nice for me to ask if this is the real Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or the cloned one.
I can pull my ear for you. You can see I'm trying to exert as much pressure as I can. The clown in Asorok has 2 ears. I only have 1. You can see my glasses. I can take it off. You can see there is no other appendage anywhere behind this one. It's only one. I can pull my nose for you. You know it is me. In fact, I can even bring, if you'll pardon me, I have here with me the mask that everybody has to wear these days. You can see that my ear is not bent, is it? You can see that it's normal, it's not bent. But the clown in Asorok, when he's wearing his own mask, you see that his ear will be bent like that. Mine is not bent. So it is the real me. And of course, I have this mark here and it's unmistakable.
Yes, I just wanted to establish that you are alive because I read somewhere that you were dead. And so I wanted to be sure I'm not making history by talking to a dead man in heaven.
Not at all. I'm here live with you on this program.
Fantastic. So could you tell me some of the books that you read that might have influenced you? I don't want to say radicalized you. I would say influenced you.
Growing up was, as with most of my peers, is Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. That is number 1. Because it's reminded us of who we are, where we are coming from, and where we should be heading to. So that very book was pivotal in shaping my understanding of my people and what needs to be done to rectify the damage that colonialism had done to our people. The second one, I would say, is Alex Haley's Roots. Again, in that very book, it reminded me or reinforced the need for the Republican zeal that burns in each and every Biafran, that we see ourselves as equal before any other race around the world, and our belief, cardinal belief, that all men are created equal before God. Given the heroic sacrifice those people made at Savannah in Georgia, in America, many, many centuries back. I also read Leon Uris's Exodus. It is about the Jewish Holocaust and the reestablishment of the State of Israel. Again, a very decent pointer towards where Biafra should be heading to. Those 3 books, Things Fall Apart, Alex Haley's Roots, and Leon Uris's Exodus. They're my three favorite books. Yeah.
I've read a lot about your religious beliefs, but could you tell us about your faith?
I worship the one true God in heaven that incidentally every religion on this earth believes, or should I say, worship as well. I believe I am a follower of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. I believe I worship where Jesus worshipped. I worship the same God that Jesus Christ worshipped. I praise the same God that Jesus Christ praised. And one of my favorite prayers actually was the prayer that Jesus prayed when he was asked to teach the disciples how to pray. And he said, "Our Father who art in heaven," which goes to confirm the supremacy of Almighty God in heaven, bar none, the name above all names. And it is exactly the religion of my forefathers. My ancestors worshipped God and God alone. We answer Wachuku. From the names we give our children, we glorify God. And if you go to my village right now, all you hear about Ikechuku or the Nakachuku, everything is about God. So I don't need to be tutored or to be told by anybody who God is, because God is ever present in our lives, and that is the God that I worship. Sometimes people tend to mistake it because the only modern interpretation of that very religion is Judaism. The only modern interpretation of this ancient religion is modern day Judaism. So that is why I tend to gravitate towards Judaism. But as I said, I am a follower of the teachings of Jesus Christ. But I practice Judaism in the main.
I was privileged to meet the late Chief Chukwuemeka Odumego Ojukwu in his lifetime. In fact, Ovation had exclusive access to his wedding, to his wife, Lady Bianca. What was your relationship with him? Did you ever meet him? And did you draw inspiration whatsoever from him?
Yes, he is our eternal leader. And that was the title that I gave to him in recognition of the very stellar work that he did, trying to save a people that didn't want to be saved. And also, I had come in contact with him in London. We invited himself, Peter Obi Chekwasokore, to come to London. That was in the year 2002, if I'm not mistaken. And I consider it an honor that where he stayed, the hotel he stayed in London, I paid for it. So I had sat with him on a few occasions and benefited from his immense counsel. The reason why we want to honor him by restoring Biafra. And only then will the whole world know in how much esteem we actually hold him. To us, he's an icon. To us, he's our Moses. To us, he is the forebearer. To us, he is everything. And Ojukwu to us, it means a whole lot more than people can ever imagine. And the few times that I sat with him and he spoke, he said a lot of things. In fact, the role that the British played during the war, he was the one that made me to actually realize what they did and the need for us to be very careful. The journalists that were interviewing him, especially from BBC, in their typewriters were, should I say, listening devices that were transmitting everything Ojukwu was saying all the way back to London. And that made it possible for them to sabotage that very effort, or should I say, to undermine it, especially what transpired at Aburi, that we now have the tapes and records of. So I sat with him and I discussed with him, and it was very informative, very fruitful. And I learned a lot from him, something that will continue to guide me as we proceed on this very important and critical journey towards the restoration of Biafra.
Fantastic. Now we'll get to the area of my bazookas. Now it's time to fire a few bazookas at you. You've been seen by many as waging a war against your country, Nigeria, by seeking a Biafra nation. What led to your decision?
First of all, Nigeria is not my country. I was born a Biafran. My birth certificate reads Biafra, and no one has ever changed that. The fact that I was at some point or the other in possession of a Nigerian passport does not actually confer upon me their citizenship. I saw the Nigerian passport as a mere travel document because my birth certificate issued at the time of my birth reads Biafra. Nobody of a sane mind will condone or accept what is happening in Nigeria. I believe that genuine attempts have been made in the past to try to remedy the wreck that Nigeria is today, but there was a palpable unwillingness on the part of the powers that be to do something about it. I detest suffering and pain. I hate to see people suffer. I hate to see people in pain. The only thing that propels me, the only thing that drives me towards this very agitation is not born out of hatred for anybody, but a desire to test freedom in our time. Nigeria was not constructed by a Yoruba man. If it were, I would have perhaps accepted. Nigeria was not created by a Fulani man. If that was the case, who knows, I may accept. Nigeria was not created by a Hausa man either. It wasn't created by a Nupe man. It wasn't created by a Gwari man, never created by a Jukun man. Nigeria was not created by an Ijaw man, not created by an Ibibio man. Nigeria was created by a white man and named by a white woman. The name Nigeria means awful, bad, evil. It means nigger, which is a swear word, is a slur in America. If a white person calls a black person nigger, they might end up in jail. Then why should I answer a name that is abhorrent before God and before man? Nobody came from all these ethnic groups. They never got together to say, as from today our name should be Nigeria. A white man determined that. I cannot go to England and say to English people, I want to rename Liverpool. I want to give it another name. I'm sure they'll think I'm mentally, unstable and put me in jail. Now, the problem is this. Why should Africans accept the name Nigeria? It doesn't mean anything in Yoruba language, doesn't mean anything in Hausa language, doesn't mean anything in Igbo language, but yet we are Africans. So I see it as a relic, or should I say a vestige of racism. I see Nigeria as an abomination, not just before God, but before man as well. Those with common sense, that is the reason why I like Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara changed the name from Upper Volta that had no meaning to Burkina Faso. Now, I wonder why educated, very savvy and enlightened Nigerians cannot see it. You have half of Yoruba land in Benin Republic. Some are in Togo. For over 20 years, I have been a very vocal advocate of a Yoruba nation that will also encompass the Yorubas in Benin Republic and those in Togo, because they are Yoruba people. Wouldn't that be very wonderful? Why should white people come from Europe and decide that some Yorubas should be Togolese, some should be from Benin Republic, and some should be from Nigeria? You're a Yoruba man. What do you have in common with a Kanuri man? Absolutely nothing. But I can tell you, you have something in common with a Yoruba man in Togo. You have something in common with a Yoruba man in Benin Republic. Why should you see a Kanuri man as your fellow citizen in Nigeria and not a Yoruba man who lives just a stone throw from Badagry? So these are the anomalies that Africans need to sit down to address. That is why we have arrested development. That is why nothing seems to be working. Because the convergence of these diverse value systems from the core Arewa North, from the West and from the East is making it impossible for Nigeria to function as a viable state. And that is a recognition that we must, at this very point in time, be able to address as educated people. Not that I hate Nigeria. I hate the name. I despise it with a passion. If you allow me, I wouldn't exist tomorrow morning. Anybody who answers or addresses him or herself as a Nigerian is a product of neocolonialism, not something that I am prepared to accept, because Nigeria never existed until Flora Shaw gave her that name, Nigeria. Before that, you had Oduduwa. Before that, you had Biafra. Before that, you had Crown Brono Empire, and all these wonderful and weird civilizations. Now, a white man cannot come from Europe and then create an identity for me. Only God in heaven can do that. And I can give an identity to my dog. The only thing you can name are your children and your pets. They are not our fathers. They are Caucasians. We are Black Africans. They have no right being in Africa and giving us names. And that I will never, ever accept.
Military and security experts have said it is impossible for any country to fight 2 civil wars without monumental repercussions. Have you considered this? And what lessons did you learn from the last Nigerian Civil War?
The lessons that I will learn from the last war, if I can begin by addressing your last question, is that we should not have given up. Even though we were overawed as a result of a global conspiracy of unprecedented proportions, Biafra-Nigeria war was the Third World War. Because in that war, if you leave Nigeria and Biafra alone, Biafra would defeat Nigeria anytime, any day. Pound for pound, Biafra would defeat Nigeria anytime, any day. And I make bold to say this. But Britain got involved. They imposed a no-fly zone over Biafra land. They imposed air, land, and sea blockade to stop us from getting food and arms. But they went behind the back of the world to negotiate with Russia to supply arms to go on. They even brought in Egyptian pilots to fly their planes for them. Nigeria has never won any war in its history. Ordinary Boko Haram, they are begging Niger, they are begging Chad, they are begging Cameroon to help them. They've never won any war. The only thing they specialize in doing is killing civilians, as they did at Lekki Tollgate. That's what they can do. Nigeria has never fought any war. An army is meant to go out to win territories for the country that it claims is coming from. The same way that Lugard led an expeditionary force to come to create Nigeria for the crown in Britain. Nigerian soldiers have not done that before. Anywhere they go, they're humiliated and they come back. So I wouldn't actually see, I wouldn't describe what transpired between 67 to 70 as a Biafra-Nigeria war. Is Biafra versus the whole world. The United States was ambivalent. They never actually, should I say, participated as they should. Britain was there running the whole show. They destroyed Aburi Accord, destroyed the agreement reached between Ojukwu and Gowon. They came back and they instigated a war. That was all they did. There was nothing. I wouldn't see it as a war. And I want to let Nigeria understand this. There is that tendency, that what I call the Fulani Janjaweedism, there is that tendency to intimidate, that tendency to terrorize, that tendency to subdue, overawe, and then conquer people. It is not going to happen in our time. They will try, but they will fail. The more they focus their attention in the East, the more the terrorists that they themselves bred in the North will overrun them there. So I am not in any way, shape, or form either phased or overawed. They will come again because it's in their nature, and this time around they'll be roundly defeated.
Well, I think with due respect to our men and women of armed forces, I believe they are well rated. I visited them in Liberia. I visited them in Sierra Leone. In Liberia, we were controlling 10 out of 15 counties. In Sierra Leone, in fact, we actually lost one of our brigadiers, and the Sierra Leoneans are eternally grateful to us because, but for the support from Nigeria, both countries, I don't know what would have happened to them. In fact, at the time, Professor Adeniji was the head of UNAMSIL in Sierra Leone. I think it would be unfair to describe as military as weak. It is possible, yes, that they got support from somewhere else. Of course, there are allies. That's why you had NATO. In fact, it's one of the reasons a lot of people are angry with America under Trump, that he has virtually collapsed the relationship, military ties to other countries. So I'll leave it at that. But then I want to go to the next question. The Igbos are obviously marginalized in the political configuration of Nigeria, but they have done extremely well globally in business, in sciences, in commerce, and so on. Won't they risk a lot of these spectacular achievements if you decide to go the way you want to go?
I should have thought that your question should be along the line of, had those people been in Nigeria, don't you think that Nigeria would be a better place? For instance, but it's never happened and will never happen for the following reasons: resentment, envy, and the need for the Fulani Janjaweed Caliphate to dumb down the standard of excellence so that everybody can become an Alumajiri. That's exactly what I have done. I am not shocked nor surprised that we are recording not just, Igbo people or Biafrans, but Yorubas are doing the same thing as well all over the place. It's there. What I then want to ask people is this: why is it that we cannot wake up one morning and hear that there is one Fulani mathematician in Florida doing very well, maybe working for NASA? Why is it that we have not woken up one morning to hear there is one Fulani man or woman voted in as a mayor or as a parliamentarian somewhere in Europe? It will never ever happen, because that is not their orientation. That is not how they were brought up to see society. The recognition of people's skills and talent is a prerequisite for the driving of any progressive society. That hasn't happened in Nigeria, because if you're not from the north, may God help you. Why is Nigeria suffering today? Nigeria is suffering because of successive regimes of mediocrity and sub-standardization, for the simple reason that people do things based on ethnicity. People want to protect their tribe. Even if they're performing very badly, they want their tribe to become preeminent. And in the process, those men and women who are skilled, who are well-read, who are well-learned, they get forgotten. And then, of course, they travel abroad, and you can see their excellence come to the fore. And that's exactly what has been happening. What we are saying is that once we have Biafra, they will all come back home. And Biafra will quite rightly become the light of Africa and Black people all over the world. Because without Biafra, Black Africa will keep floundering, and there can never be any progress.
I'm sure you know that politics is a game of number. And it has been theorized that the domination you complain about of the, what you call the Fulani hegemony, has been made possible because of the lack of unity amongst the peoples of North Central, Southeast, South-South, and Southwest. And that if they unite, they will be able to end the perpetual dominance of the so-called Northern oligarchy. Do you agree?
100%. And that was why some of us threw our weight behind our children. Some people will say, refer to me as a youth, but I'm not. I'm a very old man. I may look young, but I'm a very old man. Now, the reason why we supported our young people was because for the first time in living memory, we managed to bridge that divide, to bring everybody closer around an issue that is of importance and concern to all these people. Were you not surprised when, following what's transpired on the 20th of this very month, the same people that have failed and will continue to fail, the same leadership structure, or should I say the same cozy boys club that they formed, if your father is passing on, he will hand you over to the next buffoon to groom you in this politics of mediocrity that you find in Nigeria. Were you not surprised and shocked that the same people managed, or should I say succeeded, in introducing the tribal and ethnic dimension into what we are doing? Those of us in the South those I am proud of the should I say the understanding that those of us in the East have with our Yoruba brothers in the West, and of course, as time goes on, also Middle Belt. There is now a recognition that we are our own worst enemies. In Katsina State, there are other tribes other than Hausa and Fulani. In Katsina. In Bauchi, the same thing. All across the north. It is not a homogeneous society. The only thing that binds them together is just their language. Underneath, if you scratch the surface, you will begin to see a lot of, they have more ethnic groups in the north than you have in the south. Many more in the north than you have in the south. But over the years, the Fulani oligarchy have managed to should I say, moderate their differences. And despite what is going on underneath, they have always succeeded in presenting this united front for the north. Anytime we try that in the south, they bring in their, what people are referred to as professional gossipers. They bring in people who will always do their best to divide us, because the North understands. Any day the Igbo and the Yoruba put their differences behind them, get their acts together, for goodness sake, Nigeria will be a better place. Everybody knows that very well. So in order not to allow that to happen, they now appoint, or should I say, rig our governors into office. They go to Ohanese, they bribe a few people to go to Afani, they identify one or two people to, should I say, to groom, to do their dirty jobs for them. And what is that dirty job? You saw it in full view and in full display on the 20th. People that claim they went to school, people that claim they are senior advocates, people that claim they're enlightened, were the ones that introduced the tribal and ethnic dimension into that very successful protest. And you can see where we are today. They are rejoicing in the north. They're having fun in the north. That thing they have always done, once again, they have done it. But of course, they cannot break us. This time around, we just want to let them understand this. The unity between the Igbos and the Yorubas is deeper than End SARS protest. It is far more fundamental than they can even imagine.
Now, is Biafra your only option, or you are willing to work with other so-called oppressed peoples to form a union like it is in the United Arab Emirates?
Everything depends on what the people want. I am a Democrat. I am a Republican by genetic disposition. Anything the people want is what they're going to get. My dream and my mission is Biafra. Let's say during a referendum, people decide we want to be, yes, Biafra is good. We can answer Biafra within a union that comprises of Middle Belt, of Oduduwa and Biafra with a new name. Who am I to say no? I'm a Democrat. Whatever the majority decides is what I'm going to do. But as for us, we are pursuing Biafra. And I will also help the Oduduwa people to pursue the Oduduwa Republic. I will help the Middle Belt to do the same. But one thing is paramount. Should our people decide at a referendum or plebiscite to say, we want to maintain a semblance of union with Oduduwa and the Middle Belt, who am I to say no? I am a Democrat and I will go with it. But my primary concern now is the restoration of Biafra.
An audio surfaced recently, I think about 2 weeks ago. It was sent to me by a family member, in which your voice, we heard your voice, directing your operatives to hit certain targets in Lagos. What led to this in a state that has really embraced the Igbo people of Southeast and South extractions? If that was your voice, do you regret the action, and are you willing to apologize for it?
It is my voice, but what I said was cut and joined together to suit the very message or narrative that our detractors were, should I say, determined to peddle. If you listen to the whole broadcast that I made, you will find out that that very audio that those people, those charlatans put out there in the public domain is not exactly what I intended. But I have said this before and allow me to repeat. If by making the pronouncement that I made on that very day that I was misunderstood, or that the true intentions of what I was wishing or willing to convey was somehow misconstrued, then I apologize for it. Because I believe that it is very, very important that we understand this. I wouldn't want to do anything, either knowingly or unknowingly, to inflame passions in the West. I wouldn't wish to do anything that would cause my Yoruba brothers and sisters alike to think, should I say, to become jittery about what our true intentions are. You made reference to your operatives. I was addressing Nigerian youths right across Nigeria, not just in Lagos. And given the heat of the moment, people were being massacred. I'm not sure that most of those commentators and apologists for Asorok have had their homes invaded before. When Fela speaks, you can hear the way that Fela speaks all the time about Nigeria Army and Nigeria Police. Why? Because Fela was a witness when his house was invaded, and the mother died as a result of it. There's something happened to me. As a result of Nigeria military invasion of my house, my father is dead, and my mother is dead as well. So when people like us with a first-hand experience of the brutality of a very primitive security architecture in a country as backward as Nigeria, you can then begin to appreciate where we're coming from. If I spoke out of turn, if people who listened to what I said misunderstood the true intentions behind the words that I uttered that night, then I do unreservedly apologize, because nobody can divide the Yorubas and the Igbos anymore. It's not going to happen. They will try, but they will not succeed. That I can assure them. What is of concern to us is that those responsible for the slaughter of those people are held responsible. The same way, I hasten to add, that those who are responsible for the murder that we ordered today going on in Obibo will be held accountable. They will and must be held accountable. I do apologize if I offended anyone, but no offense was intended in the first place. I gave an order to Nigerian youths right across the board to do what they did because the Nigerian state is evil. They believe in killing their own children. They believe in suppressing free speech. They believe in breaking up peaceful assembly with the use of force. That type of nonsense must come to an end. And they must be taught a lesson, and that was exactly what we did.
Okay, let me confess that it was actually that audio that led me to looking for you. You see, I believe that journalists must help their nation to understand some certain people and personalities like yourself. And I want to say at this stage that I'm sending my special thanks to two people. One of them I can mention publicly, the other would not want me to mention him. And the first is Femi Fanikaode, my very dear friend and brother. I contacted him because I knew there is a special bond between the two of you. And he contacted someone else who contacted you. And I want to say thank you to both of them so they know themselves. What is the relationship between you and Femi that every time I see that you are in the same direction?
He is very brave. He is urbane. He is polished and very erudite. He is a scholar and a conscientious one at that. You know, in Nigeria, you have scholars, people who just study for the sake of it, people who just read for the sake of it. He practicalizes what he understands to be humanity. And that is why I love him, I respect him, and I call him a brother. He epitomizes what any intellectual should aspire to be. You intellectualize that is very true or very good, and then you must have a human side to yourself. He is de-tribalized, as you well know, and I'm sure that in time to come, he will have a very great role to play, if not in Oduduwa, but also in Biafra. If Biafra were to come tomorrow, I will take him. And I'm sure that he will have a lot to contribute in making Biafra a better place for everybody to be in. So I have not only love for him, but also have regard for him.
Now, I'm sure you are aware that there are efforts to start a movement that will bring the Yorubas and the Igbos together and closer. Are you willing to play a major role in that union?
Yes, we are doing ours on the ground. You saw the protest on the 1st of October right across the world, Yoruba One Voice and IPOB. So we are doing ours. That was why I categorically stated, and without any equivocation, that the bond between the Yorubas and the Igbos can no longer be broken by anybody. They will thrive, but they will fail. It can't be broken anymore. So I am more than willing and able to serve in whatever capacity that is required of me to make sure that these two great nations pilot the affairs of Black people in Africa going forward. Because without them, Africa is doomed, more or less.
Now, I will plead with you to take the next question very softly. Because as a Christian, I believe my faith teaches me to render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's. So which means I respect constituted authority. My question is about your best friend, our president and commander. Now, you propounded this theory of a cloned man, and that our current president is a Sudanese man called Jibril. Do you agree that your information might have been wrong, and you are also willing to apologize to him for that error? Anybody can make a mistake.
No, not at all. Buhari is dead and buried in a shallow grave in Saudi Arabia. Aisha Buhari was there. She came back from what they called a lesser Hajj. She was wearing black. She was mourning. If you look at the pictures that were circulated at that point in time, you will see the smug, or should I say, the forlorn faces of northern governors. A minute silence was held at the AU for a late Buhari. Even Her Britannic Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, also penned a condolence message to the people of Nigeria before the cabal took over and asked her to rescind it, which she did. Buhari is dead, and I'm prepared to stake Biafra on it. If you, Delemomudu, can go and prove to me, I'm not asking you to do anything too complex. If you can go and ask this man you call Buhari, whoever it is in Asarok, to come outside, don't do very much, address a panel of Nigerian youths, maybe 20 of them, and speak Buhari's mother tongue, which is Fulfude. I will give up Biafra, I will apologize to him, and I will submit myself to any authority on this earth to do with me as they please. There is no Buhari. Jibril was there. Jibril followed Abba Kyari to Cuba and ran away from there and never came back. The man you have now in Asarok is from Niger Republic. His name is Yusuf Abubakar Muhammad. That's his name. Yusuf Abubakar Muhammad. Even Shekau knows who he is personally and was mentioning his name as well. It is not Buhari. The old Buhari that you and I know, the country cannot be burning and he will restrict himself to only 12 minutes of edited broadcast. Impossible. Impossible. Anybody that knows Buhari, even if he's dying, he must speak because he fought in his own understanding to keep Nigeria one. Anything that impacts or threatens the territorial cohesion and integrity of Nigeria, the old Buhari, in fact, he will be in Lagos. The old Buhari will be in Lagos, I'm telling you. But this little, have you not seen him with his fresh hands of a 35-year-old? He cannot wear this. He cannot wear this. Because if he wears this, his ear will bend. Because it's rubber, silicon. We know about AI technology. It's deep fake. Please Google it. You're a media man, you must know this. I can replicate this very interview with your face showing us having this conversation, but it is not you. You also saw that some, would I say, some eagle-eyed investigators managed to discover that there was actually a microphone, a loudspeaker on the table. It's everything that they claimed that Buhari was saying was coming from a loudspeaker. From a loudspeaker. Very, very sad indeed. These are the things that the world must understand and come to terms with. That the person you are calling Buhari is not Buhari, and I can stake my life on it. If he comes out tomorrow and takes, or should I say, address any press interview live without Garba Shehu doing this, telling people to cut. If he can come out tomorrow, a panel of journalists will, in fact, no, not journalists because some of them are corrupt, youths will address him. There and then you will know that Buhari is no more. There is no Buhari. No country. How can you have a country you claim you're proud of, and that country is run by 10-minute video recorded every 4 months? What sort of country is that? Every 4 months you issue a pre-recorded video to address 200 million people. What an insult. What an insult. In a time of crisis, there is COVID-19, people are agitating, they're very restive. The only thing you can do is 10 minutes video. Laughable and absolutely absurd. And no sensible person should be able to tolerate it. Buhari is dead, and I stake my life on it.
Please don't stake your life on it, because I am very, very convinced that he is alive. I have been meeting Buhari since 2010. Okay? And the last time I met him was 2 years ago inside Aso Rock with a former president of Africa. I met him, we interacted, he cracked jokes with me, he even said, Dele, it seems you've added weight. I am telling you that I am not foolish not to know the person I've been seeing for 10 years. I've worked closely with him on his campaign. And yes, you could have your theory why you think, you see, my own theory is different. Because he was very sick, a lot of people thought that he would die, and God restored his life. And I think that is why you think he is dead. I am personally convinced that he's alive. I believe that a man like President Olusegun Obasanjo will not go and hold any meeting with a cloned president of Nigeria. If I can't vouch for any other person, I know that Obasanjo will never agree. He will talk.
There is a saying where I come from, Dele. If you see something that is greater than your farm, you sell your barn where your harvest of yam is, where you store your yam. Because that is the greatest thing that any Igbo man has in the olden days. If you see something that is greater than your farm, you sell your barn. And you could be a robber. They do not want to expose that the fact that Buhari is dead, because everybody depends on the oil and gas coming from Biafra land. Without oil and gas, Nigeria will be worse than a banana republic. There will be nothing happening there. Nigeria runs what is called a rentier economy. You sell oil and gas to import everything you need, including toothpick, including Indomie and pasta. So what is called the doctrine of stabilization. If you come out and you announce that Buhari is dead, there will be pandemonium everywhere. In fact, the US government feels that if they allow a precipitous collapse of Nigeria, it may impact the wider region. That is what the Africa desk at the State Department has been doing for very many years. So if you expose the fact that Buhari is dead, it will cause pandemonium and there will be regional destabilization. And you will have a whole lot more of foreign terrorist groups to contend with. Now you have 7. Many more will come up. They do not want to turn northern Nigeria into another Yemen, Afghanistan, or Syria, or Somalia, for that matter. That is the only reason why they're keeping quiet. And everybody's hoping that he will make it to 2023 so that Aisha can go with the boyfriend and relax, because Buhari is dead. Absolutely dead and confirmed. Look at the hands of your, I can become a trend. You ever seen that little boy they call Tagwe that used to mimic Buhari, speak the way that Buhari does, crack Buhari jokes? That little boy is an Igbo boy. They've not given him a Fulani girl to marry. You know that little boy called Tagwe, he's a comedian. He mimics Buhari. These things happen. People can mimic Obama. People can mimic whoever they want to mimic. There are expert actors who can do all of these things. But let me make this very clear to you. It's a very simple thing. I'm not asking for a DNA test anymore. If Buhari can hold a meeting, the man you call Buhari, with Nigerian youths to ask him questions and speak his mother tongue Fufude, then I will give up. But I can assure you categorically that you are one of those that they have deceived, but they cannot deceive us. It was a well choreographed, well planned, and executed with military precision. They knew what they were doing because Britain is in charge. Britain is in charge. The same way they took charge of the NSAS protests. You were there, you were watching. When British High Commissioner went to Lagos, did not see the Lagos State Governor, but saw Tinubu. Not up to 48 hours, the army came and started shooting. And now, as they say, the rest is history. The people controlling you are those that created you. The people that made you a Nigerian are those now in charge of your lives. You are not in charge of Nigeria. They are. And are the ones running the show. And maybe next week, you get another 10 minutes video recorded. The old Buhari couldn't have done that. Ask Obasanjo. How many times did you allow them to broadcast a recorded speech in a time of national crisis? How many times? Obasanjo will tell you no. Jonathan did something. Only this thing that they put up there. Now, I will ask you to put on your face mask. Put it on. Put on your face mask. Let us see. Do you have one with you?
Yeah.
Ask them to bring it for you. Put it on. Your ear will not bend. Your ear can never bend. It's impossible because you're a human being. You have cartilage in your ear. But if this ear is made of silicone, as the one that Aisha's boyfriend is wearing, once you put on mask, your ear will bend. Simple. And that is why we have common sense and brain. Keep asking yourself. They took a picture with Jonathan, with everybody, with Yemi Osibajo. None of them had their ears bent. Only Buhari's ears were bent. Others were wearing the same mask, but only Buhari's ear was bent, meaning that it's made out of rubber, silicone. The person that's not Buhari can never ever be. Please go ahead.
Okay, so do you have a map for Biafra? Where will it start from and where will it end?
First of all, do you know that if I ask you now, Dele, how many states do you have Igbo people in Nigeria? How many states would you tell me? It's a simple question. You're a journalist.
I would say everywhere.
No. I mean where they are indigenous to, where they come from. There could be Igbo people in Lagos. They're not from Lagos. They're Igbo people. If I ask you right now, how many states in Nigeria do you think that Igbo people are indigenous to? How many would you say? 5 Southeast states? After all, that is the Igbo territory. Is that what you would say?
Yes.
I have a surprise for you. It is 13. Igbo people are indigenous to 13 states of Nigeria. 13. As I told you, those who created Nigeria are in charge of Nigeria. And in order to weaken, to diminish, to render irrelevant every aspiration of an Igbo man, Britain decided to advise the Janjaweed Caliphate to keep redrawing the map until we now have only 5 states. Igbo people are in 13 states. And now let me answer your question. The map of Biafra starts from wherever women tie two-piece wrapper and ends where they stop tying two-piece wrapper. In other words, Biafra land starts from Kogi in the north, in Igala land, Idoma, Igede, all the way to Godomikodo, Idu land, in Udo, and going down to Bakassi, after Cross River State, and to Bonny and to Opobo in the south. All these are Biafran territories because if you go there, all the women there to
the 13 states. I want the 13 states, please.
You want me to name for you the 13 states that make up?
Yes, please.
Kogi, are there Igbo people in Kogi? I'm sure the answer is yes.
Yes.
Indigenous. Are there Igbo people in Edo State? Yes. We agree. In Edo State, there are Igbo people. I'm not talking about Tubiaja, which is Ishan. We'll come to that later. I'm even talking about a place called Igbo Akari. Igbo Akari. Are there Igbo people in Delta State? Yes. Are there Igbo people in Benue? In Benue State, I'm asking you, Izi community is in Benue State. They speak Igbo. The largest market you have in Benue belong to the Igbo communities in Benue State. Are there Igbo people in Cross River? Yes. The Sobo Igbo people are in Cross River. Are Igbo people in Akwa Ibom? Yes. E2 is in Akwa Ibom. There are Igbo people there. Are there Igbo people in River State? Are there Igbo people there? Of course there are. 90% of River State is Igbo. Are there Igbo people in Bayelsa? And you'll be shocked. YES is the answer. There are Igbo-speaking people inside Bayelsa itself till tomorrow morning. The same way you have Ijaw people in Ondo. Are there Igbo people in all the 5? I've counted for you the 6 states that make up the so-called South-South. Imo, Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi.
Yeah, you've mentioned 9 now. 9 states. 1, 2, 3. Kogi, Edo, Benue, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Bayelsa, Ondo.
Have you added? No, not in Ondo. We're not in Ondo. Igbo is not in Ondo. What is in Ondo is Ijaw. Ijaw is in Ondo, not Igbo. But okay. Ijaw is Biafra, and we'll get to that later. And then you add the 5 southeastern states. You have Imo, you have Anambra, you have Enugu, you have Ebonyi, you have Abia. Add all of them together.
Imo, Anambra, Ebonyi, Abia,
Enugu.
1, 2,
added to the 6.
Okay.
5 southeastern states.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think 1 is missing somewhere.
One cannot be 6 states. 6 states of the South, 5 states of the Southeast, then Kogi and Benue. And then you get 13. In all these places, you have, I'm not telling you about where they are trading, where they are doing business. People from there are Igbo. They are indigenous.
And you think Kogi would agree to go with Biafra?
No, it's about a referendum. We are asking, what we're asking for is that part of Kogi where women tie 2-piece wrapper. That's all. Your mother will tell you where you come from. If you look at your mother when she dresses up to go to church or to go to a function and she's tying 2-piece wrapper, one on top of the other, then you know you're a Biafran. And that's what they do in Kogi, in Enugu State, in Benue State, in Cross River State, all the way down. You can go all the way down to Edo State. It is there till tomorrow morning.
Don't you think you are likely to hit the brick wall if you try to go expansionist, if I could put it that way?
I am an Igbo man. With all due respect, my dear brother, the Yorubas may be comfortable leaving Yoruba people in Togo and the Benin Republic and calling somebody from Sokoto State their brother. I don't intend to do that. Wherever you have Igbo people, they must be together as one. We are not leaving anybody behind. We cannot leave anybody behind. It was the Fulani Janjaweed and the British that caused this problem. You cannot come to my land, you take an Igbo community, you give them to Benue, you give them to Kogi, and you say that from the north. Ohanese may tolerate it, I will not tolerate it. I can't tolerate it. I am not going to leave one single Igbo community anywhere. They must be part of Biafra. They must be part of Biafra.
What happens? Let's say the other people that you are fighting get provoked and they decide to call you bluff and say, okay, Igbo people in Kaduna, in Katsina, in Sokoto to defend Israel. How will that fit into your plan?
Quite frankly,
before you answer, let me do it as a double warning. And what if the Igbos in those places say they are not interested in joining you?
Hallelujah. We say good riddance. Everything we are doing is based on the consent of the people. There must be a referendum, or should I say referenda, which is the plural, right across the board. We are going to ask people, ethnicity by ethnicity, where they wish to belong. If they say we want to be part of the Janjaweed North, where once in a while you lose your daughter, your wife could be raped, oh, well and good. We let them go. I am a Democrat. I'm not going to force anybody to do anything. And Biafra must come via a referendum. People must agree to it. We are not forcing anyone to do anything. Everything we are saying and doing is geared towards one outcome, a referendum. If they agree, fine. If they don't agree.
So who is going to organize this referendum that you've been talking about?
The United Nations will have to organize it at the right time. They will.
If it is not organized, what is your plan B?
We continue with civil unrest and civil disobedience, boycott of elections. As one of our great heroes said, we will boycott all boycottables until we get what we want. The British never wanted to leave Africa, but they did. Russia never wanted the Soviet Union to break up, but it did. Serbia never wanted Yugoslavia to break up, but it did. Sudan never wanted South Sudan. They never wanted South Sudan to be free. They're free today. Ethiopia never wanted, excuse me, Eritrea to be free, but today Eritrea is free. So that tells you all you need to know. It is not in their hands because you know what? Power belongs to the people. Anything we want is what we're going to get.
Once again, I want to ask this. Do you think this dream is realizable without a war? And are you prepared to fight another war?
This dream can be realized without a war. And let me put it this way, as soon as the people, the various ethnic groups in Nigeria realize what Nigeria means to each and every ethnic group, they will subscribe to our position. So it is realizable without a war. Before the white man came, let me ask you this, because it's an interview, which means you can ask me questions and I can ask you. Before the white man came, was there any Nigeria? Before the white man came, did Nigeria exist? It's a simple question that I'm asking you. Dele, did Nigeria exist before?
It didn't, no.
It didn't exist. Then why are African people, black people dying over something that they did not create? Did any Yoruba man create Nigeria? The answer is no. No Igbo man created Nigeria. No Hausa man did. No Fulani man did. No Kanuri man did. No Jukun man did. When you come to Nigeria, it's always a debate about it is our turn. It is our turn. It is our turn to rule. Now, there are over 250 main ethnic groups in Nigeria. If you keep rotating the presidency every 8 years to each and every ethnic group, times 8 by 250. How many years are you going to get? So some people will die many times over. They will reincarnate many times over. The presidency hasn't come to them. Nigeria is a joke and an absolute mess. It was not created by black people. Therefore, it cannot be sustained by black people. I want to see an Africa where a Yoruba nation, a Yoruba mega nation extends from Togo all the way to Edo State. That's what I want. Because that is authentic Africa. I don't know why Africans are so beholden to something that is alien to them. Are you a white man? The Luga that created Nigeria is a white man. What are you doing as an African defending something that a white man created out of, should I say, a racist intent? Nigeria was an ordinary company, Royal Niger Company, an ordinary business venture that the British converted into a nation. And Africans are killing themselves, trying to maintain something that a white man created. Sometimes I wonder what type of God made African people. I don't understand it. And that is why you have this neo-colonialism. That is why the British High Commissioner had to go to Tinubu to ask him, how do you end this protest? Because if this protest continues, you're jeopardizing our oil. Nnamdi Kanu can use it as an advantage to go and get Biafra. They asked the army to go in and kill people. You people are being ruled by your colonial masters. Your fate is not in your hand. You're in a country that is 60 years old, so to speak. There is no electricity. If I am a Nigerian, I can't come out and say I'm a Nigerian. I'll be ashamed of myself. For 60 years, you have no electricity. For 60 years, no good roads. For 60 years, no good schools. For 60 years, your politicians are traveling abroad for medical treatment. I ask you, what is there to be proud of about Nigeria? Name one thing you can be proud of. Name one thing. Is a question I'm asking you, Dele. Tell me one thing you can be proud of in Nigeria.
Nigerians are amongst the brightest people in the world, including the Igbo people, of which you are one. You're a very brilliant man. That is Nigeria in your DNA.
I was born a Biafran, not a Nigerian. Nigeria is a historical mistake.
Was there a birth certificate at that time that wrote Biafra on it?
Of course, yes. You want me to show you? I will show it to you. I can email it to you. It's not here with me right now. I can email it to you. My person is Biafra.
I don't mind.
I will email it to you. So you see, what I'm asking is, if Nigeria never existed until the white man came, why are you as a black African man defending it? What's a white man created? Why? When you have Yorubas in Benin Republic, Yoruba is in Togo, they speak your language, they eat your food, they dress the same way you do, you have the same culture, the same value system, the same orientation, and I'm asking you, and the white man came from Europe and said, oh, you are Yoruba from Togo, you speak French. You're Yoruba from Benin Republic, you're going to speak French. But you, Dele, you're Yoruba from Nigeria, you speak English. Are people not perturbed by that? That level of dehumanization, that level of subjugation. You see, the one thing that shocks me about Africa and their class of intellectuals is the fact that they are willing to swallow hook, line, and sinker anything the colonial master gives to them. And I've asked you this very question. Can you go to Europe and create a country as a black man? The answer is no. Then why must you accept what a white man is doing in Africa? Do you see why we are poor and very backwards? Do you see why Nigeria can never have 24 hours of electricity? Never, ever, ever, ever. Because the foundation is faulty. The orientation of Fulani Janja, people were protesting SARS killings in the south. Fulani people in the north were busy having fun and laughing and smiling. And you want to be in the same country with them. Your value system, your reasoning, your understanding, your orientation can never, ever be the same. Never be the same. Why did Britain leave the EU? Dele, I'm asking you, are they not Christians? Are they not Democrats? Don't they believe in free trade and voting people in and voting them out? But then, why did Britain leave the EU? Why? The same Britain that left the EU is asking me not to leave Nigeria. Nigeria that is only 100 years old. Your grandfather was not a Nigerian. Was not. So why must you throw away the history of your family, the rich history of Yoruba people? Because a white man called the place Nigeria. Why must you do that? Why? Can I go to England and name them and name them Albania and say all your history is now gone? We are doing our ancestors a disservice. And let me tell you why Black Africa cannot go forward. some people, not you, some people accepted this nonsensical balkanization of Africa with their useless flag independence. And your ancestors are in the grave. Your ancestors that existed before the white man was born, they're in the grave. You jettison their history and their identity. You banish it, you denigrate it, you insult them by accepting this garbage called Nigeria, and you want them to be happy with you. That is why no black African country can see development. No black, you see South Africa. When whites were running South Africa, everything was good. Now blacks took over. Look at what is happening. Because even the land of Africa itself is angry with us. We went to school for a reason. The reason why you go to school is to question certain things. And the question is this: why is it that you as an African, you're willing to kill, to die for something a white man created when they cannot do the same thing for you? You see how they are not equal to us. You see why they are always better than us. And nobody can tell me with any ounce of conviction or justification the reason why Yoruba people should be in Togo, in Benin, and in Nigeria. Why can't they be in one country, the same way that the English people are in one country in England? Or should I say in the UK? These are the things that we must ask ourselves.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I mean, you are very passionate about your beliefs. Nobody can take that away from you. So now we get to the stage where I already jotted down some questions from members of the public. The first is that you hold a dual nationality. So they are saying you have a choice, you have an option. What about those who have nowhere to go?
The reason why you're interviewing me today is because I got lucky. My parents didn't get lucky. People who were in my house did not get lucky that very day. They died. My dog also died. Jack, they killed my dog. Now, listen very carefully. People don't understand. You see, there is a level of flippancy in Africa, and should I say, we don't interrogate any concept or phenomenon with a great degree of sincerity. Why do I have a Nigerian passport? The same way that Awolowo, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, held onto a British travel document. Did that stop Awolowo from fighting for Nigeria to be independent? I'm asking you a simple question. Did that stop him? Awolowo went to Glasgow to study.
A British document.
Exactly. He traveled abroad. Awolowo traveled abroad to study. He read economics in Scotland, and he came back, probably even on British scholarship. The fact that Awolowo was availed of free education in England and traveled to England by ship in those days with British papers, did it stop Chief Awolowo from fighting for independence of his people?
And I must say, he was a lawyer.
Thank you. Sorry, I do apologize. I do apologize. He was a lawyer as well, but he also read economics. Do you know he read economics as well? He also read, he's a lawyer. I agree. Now, I'll ask that question again so you answer so that the whole world can hear. Yes, the fact that Awolowo went to England and studied, or let me say Britain and studied, United Kingdom, came back, became a lawyer and an economist. Did that stop Chief Awolowo from campaigning for independence from Britain? I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Hearing you, yeah. I understand your logic, yeah.
Now, the same thing with Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. He traveled to the US. He studied. He traveled to the US with British papers. As somebody traveling from a British colony, he went to the US and he read, and he came back. And a Yoruba man, incidentally, let me tell you why they don't want Yorubas and the Igbos to be. A Yoruba man identified the talent in Nnamdi Azikiwe and appointed him the secretary of NCNC. That Yoruba man is Herbert Macaulay. A Yoruba man. and Zeke fought with the likes of Awolowo until Nigeria became free. Why didn't they say, you know, in those days they were very intelligent. Nobody said to Zeke, oh, you went to England for free. You studied, you have their passport. Now you're fighting and saying they should go. Because in those days, our fathers, they had brain. I'm sorry to say this generation, I don't know what's wrong with them. Is a social media indomie generation. And I hope that after this evening, they will become, should I say, more enlightened as to the issues. I no longer hold dual nationality. I used to have dual nationality for convenience sake, just to travel out of Nigeria, not for anything. And my hatred for Nigeria didn't start today. I've always hated Nigeria. It's a very useless place. Only a fool can say, I am a proud Nigerian. There's something to be proud of. Absolutely nothing. You have nothing. Individually, you're brilliant. The Ngozi Okonjo-Iwealas of this world, our brother who is at African Development Bank, very smart and very brainy, yes, as an individual, but collectively as a group, the most useless 200 million people in the whole world. Nothing is coming out of nothing, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So how can I be a proud Nigerian? Ordinary light you don't have. No, simple light you don't have. How can I be a proud Nigerian? Thank you very much.
Now, your governors have virtually rejected Biafra. Those are the most senior representatives of the people. So this person is asking, how do you want to deal with that situation?
How many governors do we have per state?
I
think it's one, isn't it?
One governor per state, yes. But they
and in a democracy,
they control. No. Yes.
How many, during election, how many times does the governor vote?
Once.
Okay. So the people will decide, not a governor. We are not Fulani Janjaweed. We don't have feudal lords in our land. We are Democrats or Republicans. You have only one vote. Only one vote. One governor, one vote. People may dissent, they're entitled to their opinion. One governor, one vote during the plebiscite or referendum. And there is nothing they can do about it. The majority says they want Biafra. So the views of the governor, of course, may be taken into consideration, but it doesn't count because they are in the minority. We are not Fulani people.
Someone has asked, how are you funded?
We are the largest movement on the face of this very planet Earth. IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, we're all over the world. And our people are very, very generous. They fund us. No politician, no millionaire, no billionaire, nobody. Ordinary people in the diaspora and people at home. They fund this well-oiled machine all over the world. That is why we are formidable. We owe it to them. We don't have any godfathers. That is why I speak the way I do. If there's anybody who can say they are funding us, come out and say it. Nobody does. Ordinary people do. Because everybody wants freedom.
Someone is asking, if you say you are asking for a referendum, how come you sometimes apply force, the use of force and coercion?
That is the only thing the Fulani Janja would understand. Nigeria is a rogue creation. Nigeria is where vandals and bandits abound in political office. Nigeria is not a civilized society and can never ever be. You saw the way they are behaving. You give rice to a governor to give to people, the governor will steal it and keep it. Palliative that he did not buy. The only language they understand is by breaking into those warehouses and taking what belongs to you. The criminals and the hoodlums here are the governors, not the people who are hungry. I don't know why in Africa we always want to turn the narrative upside down. So you're telling me that Fulani can come to my place and rape my mother, abduct my sister, and I'll be clapping and praying and doing hallelujah and doing prayer and fasting. Nnamdi Kanu is not like that. We hunt them down, we pursue them, we catch them, and we deal with them. As simple as that. If people can tolerate that type of rubbish, we can't take it. Never, ever, ever. Never.
You said you are a Democrat.
Yes.
Does democracy allow the use of brute force?
Is Nigeria not a democracy? But they were in Lekki shooting people that their constitution says should not be shot. People praying and singing national anthem, we are shot. A constitutionally granted right. The state of Nigeria violated it. They are the ones that brought violence, not us. As they say, those of them that make peaceful revolution impossible, they make violent revolution impossible. They make it possible, rather. Those are the words of John F. Kennedy, not mine. An American Democrat who, and people talk about democracy all the time. The modern Britain you have today was forged in a revolution led by Oliver Cromwell that toppled the monarchy of King Charles I. Today, England is doing very well. France talks about democracy, but their democracy was forged in the heat of a revolution that toppled the reign, I think, of King Louis XIV or the 15th, I don't know, and Marie Antoinette. America, they hold you to account today if you're not democratic. America was forged in the battle of a revolution fought and led by George Washington. I don't know if we did all these things at all or not. I mean, I think Nigeria should employ me to write their curriculum for them so they can train sensible, reasonable people. People graduate from schools in Nigeria, they come out far more foolish than they actually went to school with.
Someone has asked, are you not afraid for your life? And what happens?
I am dead already.
And at what happens if anything happens to you now? Do you have succession plans?
I am dead already. I was pouring some water, I do apologize. I am dead already. The only thing that can bring me back to life is Biafra. This life is meaningless without freedom, not just freedom. As I said before, I traveled to England to study for a reason and for a purpose. You cannot tell me that in England, they have gas piped all the way from the Scottish gas fields. There is 24 hours a day electricity. There is gas. If you're homeless or if you're unemployed, the government can give you what is called housing benefit. You can pay your rent and live in a decent home. They also give you money to feed as well. If I cannot do those things for my people, then my life is meaningless. So as I am right now, I'm already dead. I'm only waiting for Biafra to revive me and to resuscitate me. And I feel and I do pray that most other Africans should feel the way that I do. Because Africa is a failure because we fail to address the core and the key issues affecting our lives. We intend to change that. And by the grace of God Almighty in heaven, we shall be successful. My life doesn't matter anymore. What matters is Biafra. Everything else is irrelevant. And the zoo government, they know it. Everything is irrelevant. The only thing that matters to me, God is my witness, is Biafra, nothing more. I'm not doing anything. I don't have a car. I have nothing. The only promise I said to God is, give me Biafra, that's all. I don't want anything else. What am I doing with money? What am I doing with cars? I don't need them. The Biafra I do need.
Now, someone says, if you disagree so vehemently with the English people for what you believe they've done in Nigeria, how come you accept their protection?
They are not protecting me. I'm sure if they have a chance to kill me, they will kill me. They're not protecting me. The only people that ever protected me was the state of Israel. Nobody else has ever protected me. Only Israel did. So if they have a chance to kill me, they will kill me. What protection is the person talking about? I said it before. Chief Obafemi Awolowo went to UK to study. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, because there's one good thing about the UK. If you study there, your eyes will open. You see how vocal and vociferous the protest in London was. Because we understand their game, we know the way they play it, and we feel sorry for our people that they cannot see what we have seen. But one day, who knows, their eyes may open. But as I keep saying, anything we do to ensure that freedom comes, not just to Biafra, to Duduwa, but to everybody, every ethnic group, I am all for it.
So could you tell me a bit about your project, the Radio Biafra?
Radio Biafra
of the Radio Freedom under Abacha. So I know a bit about pirate radios. So that's why I'm asking.
It's not a pirate radio. It's not pirate. Radio Biafra is registered in England. It's not a pirate radio. It is actually registered. It's not a pirate radio. That was the argument they were making before. And when they asked the UK to shut down Radio Biafra, UK told them we can't. It's a legitimate business. You know, it's a legitimate concern in the UK, so we can't shut it down. So it's not pirate. And we build our own transmitters. I don't know if you know that. The FM that you listen to in Lagos, if you're in Lagos right now, if you hear my voice tomorrow morning or the voice of any of the presenters tonight, we built ourselves. And I believe in encouraging ingenuity. Everything we have, we built ourselves. Because, of course, God is with us. And our mission and cause is noble. That is the history of Radio Biafra, and we keep expanding. And I do hope that before this month runs out, which is just a few days away, that Radio Biafra will be in Katsina broadcasting in Daura. Radio Biafra will be in Daura broadcasting. And they will complain, but they can't do anything about it because we are far ahead of them.
What are you doing in Daura when you said Buhari is not there? So what will you be doing in Daura?
No, they challenged us. Their MDC challenged us. They said they're going to buy equipment worth, is it 700 million to disrupt what we are doing? So in response, I said, I'll put a radio inside Daura and I'm going to do it. I will. There'll be FM in Daura very soon.
So you cannot be jammed.
Who can jam it? Who is the person who can jam it? This is the technology from Biafra and you cannot do anything about it. That is why the Katuna line is running helter-skelter to stop Biafra, because they know that once Biafra comes, maybe an African country can now put a man on the moon. They don't want that because they know what we can do. And I'm saying it out in the open. They should try all they can to stop us. They cannot stop us. Eventually, we're going to win. Because this is God's project, not man's project. It's God that said Biafra must come to cook not man.
On this note, I must say a big thank you to you for a very, very elucidating session. And I am definitely educated about you. I may disagree with you on a number of things, but a lot of people didn't want this interview to take place. I told them, I hate censorship. I was a victim of censorship. Everybody must talk. If you don't talk, nobody will know why you do the things you do. And those who disagree with you must still get to know more about you. And I must say, I am very, very grateful that you agreed to speak to me. And I hope very soon again, when we have cause to speak to you, at least now we've established this contact. And I really appreciate your agreeing to talk to me. Thank you so much, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Thank you, Dele. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. My dear viewers, it's been, I told you, it will be the mother of all the interviews, and so it has been. Thank you all. We'll be uploading, and I'm sure a lot of newspapers will get some news out of this. Thank you, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.